industries, right? So what do you think is the AI readiness across various industries, and any distinction or any patterns you could notice between more traditional industries and more tech native or tech friendly industries?
If you look at the example, it could be some of the logistics companies, supply chain areas. This could be example of some of the finance companies where the data is always available in the digital format, and some of the other companies which are a lot about AI first, and then rest of the things later. I have seen that in these kind of companies, their whole revenue, and whenever they are thinking of doing anything with respect to AI, they look at AI for their revenue making stream. And hence, for each and everything that they will be doing with respect to AI, they will be transforming to how much is the top line growth I am going to get it. And hence, they will be thinking from there because they have started their journey with that. However, if you look at some of the traditional businesses, I'm from Mahindra Group, so let's take an example of Mahindra Auto or Mahindra Life Spaces, etc. Where what happens is the core business is not the AI first. You are into the business of doing something, and what you are doing is you are bringing the AI into the peripheries first, and then slowly adopting into it. And from my experience, what I have seen is, in these cases, you don't start looking at revenue first. You basically start looking at two opportunities, two very specific opportunities, how AI can be diffused into your overall businesses. One opportunity is how do you manage your customers? Because your rest of the business is there, you want to be customer centric, and hence you want to sort of bring in AI into the picture where you will be able to serve the customer faster. So think of any of the solutions where you are reaching out to the customer, you are looking for a test drive, you are looking for the opportunities where the customer data is available to you, you are looking forward for customer to reach out program, or also you are talking about some of the experiences when the customer has been with us, and you are looking forward for some of the post-sale, cross-sale, and upsell kind of opportunities. These are the first set of areas in the non-AI native businesses which they have stopped adopting to. And the second one is they start thinking of, before the revenue, they start thinking of cost differentiation first. Because remember, the process is already established, and all of this process may not be having the AI at the first. And hence, what they will start doing is they will start looking forward to the pockets of opportunities where your underlying business processes, with the advent of AI, can be made better. And can you sort of get a competitive advantage by bringing the cost differentiation into it?
So thanks, Vineet. That's very helpful, right? Because this is, interestingly, we are seeing a lot of adoption across both like a process level productivity as well as personal productivity as well. So it's, good framework that you've introduced. Next up, Nishant, from your perspective, what are some, practical use cases that you have seen work in your experience? Perhaps some which are conventional, some which are unconventional, unexpected, which have still worked, right? So that would be good to hear from you.
I think he has covered the traditional use cases. So I'll talk about the unconventional way of approaching them. So the way I categorize use cases, it's true for financial services, but I think it's true across sectors, is like in three categories, and I would coin them, say differently, like in a minute or two. So today, like we have those revenue generating ones, as he said, and then you have the operational effectiveness, and then you have the risk related ones. Now, what I realized is that if you use this terminology, so this has been used for last 20 years, 30 years, and with AI coming in, there is a difference, and people need to get it. So the way I call revenue generation is I call it as alpha generation. Now, the difference in alpha and revenue is that you can generate revenue even by traditional means. People can say that I can go and open a new branch, I can get into a new geography, I can hire more people. You can earn revenue. Earning revenue is easy. But finding alpha is like finding a needle in the haystack, where you need a lot of data, you need crunching, you need interpretation skills, and that is where AI comes in. So I have coined alpha generation, and it works. So probably this is a tip for the audience when you go back. Now the second is operational effectiveness. It's been used, and like you can your cost optimization, like you could have done with your automation or your process automation. You know, we've been doing it for the last 20 years. Like no big deal. You know, so I call it as non-linear growth. Now with AI, what you can do is you don't need to hire people to grow your revenues. You know, you need to probably have assistants and your agents and your agentic bots. And, you know, so the real kill is key. If you can grow non-linear, you can achieve your targets, but you don't have to hire or open as many branches, hire as many people. You know, so that is disrupting the financial services, and I think that word is also catching up. You know, so use that like non-linear way of scaling up. Now the third, where we have been talking about risk, you know, risk and fraud has been beaten to death, and we in financial services, like, is very important for us. You know, risk and fraud, like, we are very highly regulated, so there's a lot of budget, but I call it as trust. And why trust? Because in the world of AI, there is a lot of mistrust out there. There is misinformation. There are deepfake videos, and you know what AI can do for you is it can help you manage your trust of your customer, your trust of your employees, your data, your access control.
Now, I think we've heard about different industry perspectives, right? So, Sudip, for you, I want to change tack a little. And, you know, there are two parts to adopting AI. One is about the industry being ready. The second part is about the leadership being ready, right? So, from your perspective, if you look at the leadership, right, the CEO, CFO, CIO, etc. So, how is the perspective different among these different leaders, right? And are there any call-outs that you want to give for the audience?
So what is the perspective of the CEO, what is the perspective of the CFO, and perspective of me as a CDIO or, you know, running the show? So CEO looks at it from the strategic perspective, no doubt about it. He has the top line, he has the bottom line, he has got a lot of things to do. The first thing that I think the CEO's perspective is the executive leadership. You know, I saw that the survey, the first was executive leadership. Without that, it's not possible. If we don't get it, we get the, you know, the push from the CEO, it is absolutely not possible. One of the CXOs below the CEO cannot move the needle. That's my perspective, very simple. I can give you an example. In L&T's case, the current CMD, he's the sole man who pushed it, right? And the entire organization danced in his tune. And it's absolutely, I was there, I was one of the guys who was dancing in that tune, and we did a great job at that time, and still I'm sure that they're doing great. So without that, without the top man, it's not possible. That's number one. Number two is, there is a little bit of perspective on the CEO side, I must say that. You know, I'll have to little criticize that, because remember that AI is not a very easy thing to do. People thinking that AI is like a chocolate, you know, get me that AI. You know, get me the Copilot, I am an AI. Right? It's not that easy. Yeah, there are lots of questions, ethical questions to moral questions to technical questions to financial questions, ROI questions, lots of there. Right? But what is happening is I'm seeing that in number of CEOs cases, they're going to some CEO gathering, somebody is saying that, oh, I am doing this. One of the gatherings I heard, a CEO is saying that, oh, I have developed my LLM model. Is that so easy? Now, listening to that, another CEO came back to the CDIO and CEO and whatsoever is there. Oh, they are doing it, why can't you? They are faster than you. You know, these kind of, you know what, it's a very light thing to do. I think every CEO today has got the responsibility to be, you know, to communicate things, taking things into perspective from the market. It's not just throw something without thinking deep, and blaming the CIO or the CA or the CDO is not a good thing. Yeah, demoralizes. I think they need to understand that. It's not easy.
So here, let's talk about what are the challenges in using AI, right? So maybe in this case, Nishant, if you can go with you first. What are some of the, you know, challenges that you have faced, right, when you are adopting AI, some practical issues that you encountered?
You know, so your tech is a backbone for AI, where you need your ETL pipelines to capture data from sources, you know, bring it into a data lake. You need modelers and data engineers to create your star schema-based data model. And then only you can host your LLMs, create your vector DB and generate insights. You need the right architecture So if your architects are not talking to your AI team, if your data analysts are sitting separately, your CTO is angry, or your business SMEs are very power hungry, your AI will never work. Your AI will work when you come together as teams, you identify, say, top 3 or 4 projects which are going to make an impact across the organization, and the credit goes to the team, not to AI. So I think AI needs to be less talked about, and it is your business use case, a project where you need help from your tech, your digital, your AI and business. I think AI is snatching all the credit, and which is where people are moving away from the AI team, which is what shouldn't happen. What we have to do is we need the help of everybody to come together to achieve, because your value and ROI is not from that small AI use case which your one data scientist can deliver. It is from your platform that you create through which you can innovate and get nonlinear growth. And that platform, will need to be created brick by brick. And that needs to be done by a team.
One key question which people face is ROI, right? So in AI, what Nishant was saying as well, everyone expects AI to magically show some ROI, right? But how do you measure ROI, right? Is it productivity? Is it cost? Or should we even think about larger things like revenue uplift, customer experience, NPS, margin improvement, etc.? What is your take on that?
How do you enumerate the productivity? It's always kind of a fuzzy. Efficiency, it's numbers driven, I can well understand. Waste reduction, number driven, we can understand. I think, sometimes what we do is we get very myopic in our view of getting me back 2 rupees from the 10 rupees within the next 2 years. You don't get to see whether I'm getting the capability to understand a chart, understand the AI principles, understand whether my guys are getting capable. Are they liking it? Are they getting ready for next 5 years or 10 years rather than just 2 years, 2 rupees, right? How do we build capability? Value is one thing. The capability on 2 sides. One is the technology capability, data tech capability in its investment. And the second part is human capability. It needs investment even more because you have to not only create a short-term memory, but a long-term memory as well. And things are changing very fast. Today's knowledge is not equal to tomorrow's knowledge. Within 6 months, it is changing. So capability building also should be an ROI.
For every success, there's probably 10, 20x of failures, right? So Gartner says 30% of pilots scale to production, 50% of them don't make any ROI, etc., right? So I think next, Vineet, from your perspective, right? So capability building is about failures teach you much more than successes, right? So what are some learnings, right, which, based on things that did not work perhaps, what are some learnings you want to share with the audience?
There are few things where I have seen that I have failed myself, and also I have seen many others failing, is first of all, solving the right technology problem and thinking that, hey, I have a solution and this solution is going to solve my problem independent of what businesses I'm. I want to give you one very specific example. And you were talking about healthcare some time back, so I thought I can take example from there. For example, if I am sort of making a machine learning model to be able to understand if a person is having, let's say, tuberculosis or not by looking at an image. In this case, what is more important for me is to be able to have a machine learning model which is having a high recall, as we say. So in the case of machine learning AI, there's a precision and there is a recall. In this case, a high recall model is important because you are dealing with the human lives, and it's okay to give some false positives because after that the person will go through some more amount of tests anyways, rather than giving a false negatives, because if you do a false negative, then that person is going to die in some time. In this case, a high recall model is good. False positives are good. But if you take the same example in the finance, a high precision model is important. If you take the same example into retail, a high precision model is important because in those cases, if I am buying a refrigerator, you don't want to show a t-shirt as a similar items. Next time you will stop using it. And hence in this case, what I want to say is looking at a problem and understanding that what is the real transformation of a business problem into a technology problem is most important thing. I have seen many people failing on that. That's one dimension of failures. The second dimension of failure is some time back, I have seen a question was raised over here, and you also touched upon the culture aspect and capability aspects to it. I see that many a times we look at AI as a technology problem, and let me tell you one most important thing for us to carry today is there is no problem as a technology problem. Each and every problem is a business problem. We as a technologist feel that, hey, if I am able to build a machine learning model of 99% or 0.99 FF score, I'm happy. It is not that. Many times I have seen that we stop thinking about how this model is going to be consumed. Has my organization advanced culturally in terms of adopting to that? Do I need a change management for people to adopt to this? And does change management exist, or people are okay or not with respect to that?
Now with that, we'll move to the final section, which is about any outlook, suggestions, recommendations for the audience, right? So Nishant, starting with you. So you have oversight of, you have an organization called AI, and you are the AI lead for your company. So in terms of skilling and, capability development, right? Any insights from you about what is working, what is not working? Because you have to build your own AI team and then spread the AI culture across the organization as well.
See, I think we need to understand like what skill is required like in the world of AI. And so this example I give people we were talking during lunchtime is, see, earlier, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, so we had a lot of questions at that point of time, and the person or the student who can answer was the hero. If you can solve a very tough maths question, you get into an IIT or an IIM. That was the skill required at that point of time. Today, your tables have changed. You have all the answers, but no one knows what is the right question. So that is where people are struggling today within the organization, where, when we have given them ChatGPT, we have given them Copilot, they have all the answers, but question kaise frame kare?
So next up, I think, Sudip, we talked about various questions, management perspective, ROI, and so on. But one issue grappling, which CIOs, etc., grapple is, how do I invest in AI from a short, medium, and long-term perspective, right? How do I prioritize my investments?
I think start from wherever the quantitative techniques are, right? So AI ML, advanced statistics, AI ML is your first priority to show the ROI. If you target that, especially on the efficiency side, not on the productivity side. Efficiency side, waste reduction side. That means supply chain, procurement, and the manufacturing, in my view. So from their perspective, possibly will be different. And you probably will be able to show ROI, get the confidence first. That is the first thing you should do in the short term. In the next, you should look for a little more sophisticated with the DL, which is basically my computer vision and all. It's very difficult to show money. You can't say that, I showed the helmet and that's why you saved people and that's why you got money. Nobody will buy that. Yeah, it's brute reality is that, right? Nobody will give you money for that unless you show something else. And the third thing is the Gen AI. It's very difficult to show by doing Copilot you saved money because of your productivity, and unless you do some research. So short term, go for financials, where the numbers in numerics are, and go for more efficiency. And the longer term, you go for Gen AI, maybe combining that. Yeah.
Vineet, to you is about, if you were to advise somebody starting off on their AI journey today, right? What would your suggestions be? What are some advice that you would give to somebody starting today on the AI journey?
I would strongly recommend two things. One is when you are starting your journey for the AI, a lot of technology is always around you. And as he mentioned, asking the right question, I want to paraphrase it slightly differently, that have your consumption story intact and have absolute clarity that how do you going to use it and do you need any change management. That's one. Second one is technology is changing very fast. A lot of things are happening, changing around you. I would say that please adopt to an approach of go early, ugly. Learn to fail fast and fail as fast as you can. And once you have failed, please learn from that experience and then make sure that you use this experience to not to fail again at least.
Happy to have any questions.
How is the partner ecosystem responding to the changes? Is there more tendency or inclination to do a co-innovation kind of a response so that it helps the entire sector? If you do it at one company for a sector, co-innovation, then it can be enhanced across. Is there any such trend or tendency, inclination?
any AI problem is basically categorized into two things. One is a very BU specific, which is not applicable for rest of the company. So in that case, I have seen that those specific problems are solved within the businesses itself. But some of the very larger problems are, for example, to be able to bring in the overall AI platform, or second one is to be able to have voice to text, or third one is, let's say that you want to have a computer vision kind of thing, which is like more of a core or platform centric thing. I have seen these kind of hierarchy or complex problem that basically gets established at the centralized places because they're scalable across the businesses, and that's how other businesses. But anything which is BU specific, I would highly recommend that it should be done in the businesses, and ideally they should be the simpler problems to solve by the businesses.